is honestly something magical about setting up a new palette with fresh watercolor. So about every 2 years, I start to notice my ceramic watercolor palette starts to look a bit crusty and overused. Basically, the paint starts to just crumble a bit and just doesn't lift out of my palette the way I would like. It's around this particular time that I stop filling my palette with new paint, and I basically just allow that color to slowly waste away as I'm using it until there is very little paint left within the well. Once the paint is completely gone, or at least nearly gone, I start to remove the old paint with a good scrub. Then I thoroughly clean the wells with a sponge and allow the palette to completely dry. Over the years, I've kind of developed this system of setting up my watercolor paints, and here are some tips that I'd like to share with you. The very first thing I would recommend is swatch your colors on a scrap piece of paper, and then try and rearrange those colors into the order of the color wheel. By doing this, it's going to help you with color mixing as well as choosing harmonious colors on the fly. Once you've decided on basically your order that you want, go ahead and create a swatch chart of the layout that you desire for your palette. This little chart is also going to be our saving grace when we are filling our palette, just to make sure we're getting all the colors in the exact location that we have already predetermined. Next, I recommend filling your wells only halfway full. This basically allows you to dilute your paint in the well and also grab lighter colors within your well, basically in the section that you didn't put your paint. Now, after you have filled your entire palette, make sure you like the placement of your colors one last time. Mistakes can happen, and this actually happened to me this particular time, but before your paints actually dry, you can correct mistakes or move colors around if you need to. And the way I did that is basically I took a palette knife and tried to lift or remove as much paint as possible without adding water to it. And then I put that excess paint on a ceramic plate. The next thing I did is any leftover paint that was still in the well, I took a stiff brush, basically an acrylic brush or something that's a little bit more bristly of a brush, and I removed the remaining paint that was inside of that well and put it once again on my ceramic plate. Now, once you have removed all the color from your well, go ahead and clean that well once again and then dry it off with a paper towel. Next, with your palette knife, once again, you're going to basically pick up the paint that you have on your plate and then replace it in your well. It's not going to be as pretty as doing it directly from the tube, but the whole point is to not waste our watercolor paint. Once you get as much as possible basically with your palette knife, then go ahead and take your stiff brush and pick up the excess that's left over on your plate and place it in your well. And once you have your palette basically laid out in your desired format, go ahead and cover your palette with either a lid or a clean, basically scrap of fabric, and allow it to dry thoroughly. This is going to help your colors basically solidify inside of your palette, as well as keep dust particles, or in my case, dog hair, that is basically flying around in the air. You don't want that stuff falling into your wet paints and then getting stuck in there, because later on when you wet those paints, those little particles are going to basically fall into your wet paint and you'll find those as you're painting your watercolor illustrations. And that is how I set up my little platter of a rainbow hues for watercolor painting. So I hope this video helped you. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to give it a like, and I will see you next time. Hey y'all, Future Carrie here. Just wanted to let you know that if you want to watch another video, I'll make sure to link it somewhere on the screen, as well as link it down below. Make sure to check out the video that I did last week. I put a lot of time into that one, and like I've talked about before, I really want y'all to see it if you haven't seen it yet. Another thing is I actually just recorded it, another video inside of Watercolor Misfit Land that is behind the scenes. I talk about just a couple of supplies that I've been using. One I've been using for over pretty much a year and a half, and the other one I just recently got this week. So if you want a chatty little vlog video on just me sharing with you some of my thoughts and stuff like that and what's going on, as well as some future projects that I've been working on, make sure to go into Watercolor Misfit Land. I'll make sure to leave basically a link down below, as well as you should see the website on the screen somewhere. Check that out. And for this week, to let me know that you made it all the way to the end of the video, congratulations. If you are watching this, make sure to leave a palette or basically a paintbrush palette emoji down below to let me know that you reached the end of the video and were able to see the entire thing. Also, make sure to give a like to this video if you liked it and would like more watercolor tips similar to this one that I put together. Lots of love, y'all, and I'll see you next time. Bye.